hard. Hello and hello. Welcome to the Survivor Maryland Winner Take All Episode 3 After Show. I am the host and editor, Anders. With me, as always, joining these beautiful live shows is my co-host, Aaron. How are you doing today, Aaron?
Hi, Anders. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. I have a lot of thoughts on this episode, so I truly cannot wait to get into it.
And Aaron, if they don't know who you are, where are you from? What should they know you of? What season should they watch about you?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not obvious, I'm from Michigan. Specifically, I'm from Survivor Michigan. Well, I guess not specifically. It's both. But you would know me from Survivor Michigan probably. I was on season 3, and I had a brief cameo on All Stars. And I have cameos on pretty much every season past season 3 from a production standpoint. And maybe in the future you might see me even in a cameo on season 12. Who's to say?
Wow, can't wait 20 years for that to come out. Mr. Scally, if people don't know who are you?
Hello. Well, I am a longtime Survivor Maryland fan. I do podcasts over on RHAP and the Free Agents podcast, and I'm just generally around.
Truly some of the best tweets I've ever seen. I love everything you tweet. I'm the biggest fan. Akshay, speaking of big fans, Akshay, where are you from? Introduce yourself.
It's slightly less obvious than Aaron, but I'm also from Michigan and Survivor Michigan. I was on season 1 and had an even briefer cameo than she did on season 5. And I have had a cameo in every single season that has aired so far, and I hope to continue that for the future. So maybe season 6 is not the last cameo you'll see of me, but yeah, Survivor Michigan historian all the way.
Damn, when do you guys ever graduate?
They don't.
I say as I'm editing this. Sam, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, my name is Sam. I'm from Survivor Time and Change, which, if you don't know the name, it's Survivor at Ohio State. I helped produce seasons 1 through 3 on the production crew. Then I was on the exec board for 4 and 5. Fortunately, I don't have any cameos. I did not play an official season, but I do host Survivor after shows with my bud, Zach Cushing.
Incredible. Well, welcome all. What did we think about the episode? We are 3 episodes into Survivor Maryland. I think, we didn't have an official quit on this one. It was somewhat that. I still don't think it was a boring episode. What are all your opinions about it?
I thought it was super fun. Honestly, I was really nervous that it might have been going a different way. And given my fandom of certain people, I was excited to see maybe that it did not. But regardless, I thought that everyone was playing very actively and setting us up for a very fun early mid-game of Survivor Maryland. So I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, agreed. There was a lot going on this episode. Somebody named Michaela had a confessional this episode, which was super exciting to me. I was like, yes, Michaela confessional, let's go. She slayed another challenge, by the way. I'm like kind of becoming a Michaela stan, I can't lie. Yeah, it was so good. I think there was a lot packed into this episode. And I have just so many thoughts talking about like leading up to the vote and thoughts surrounding the vote, which did end up being a vote, but it's such a complicated situation that I'm sure we'll get into later. But yeah, great episode, a lot of setup, and clearly that's kind of what these past 2 episodes have had to be, with how the results have been. But it's been very good setup, and I think we're in for a lot of great things to come. And I think those will probably be, looking at the rest of this cast, I don't see another person doing something like this. So I think we're in for a lot of fun.
I'm scared because Anders is laughing at that.
I imagine every episode. I saw a great comment that was like, I can't wait for who's going to quit next on Majesta.
We're just setting up for the late mid-game.
I keep getting... I mean, this episode I got so excited because I'm like, this tribe is such a ticking time bomb. But both times I get to tribe, it's like the wire gets cut right before it goes off.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, objectively, if we talk about what occurred, like, this season sucks just because, like, how season 2 tribal went and how season 3 tribal went. But subjectively, these episodes have been so good and the lead up has been so good that you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then, like Sam says, the wire kind of gets cut and you're like, well, that's a lame way for that to end. But It's not like Survivor 45 level of lame where it's just like, wow, I hate this tribe with a passion. It's no, like, I really like this tribe, and I really want to see what would happen if they went to a real tribal and actually voted somebody out.
Exactly. Like I feel like both times leading up to tribal, I was like, oh my god, there's so much happening. Everybody's shifting around, but we just haven't gotten the payoff yet.
You know, Survivor Michigan gets its to be continues. We just give you a full episode with a tribal and then say, but you didn't see the result really. Let's start with the beginning of this episode. Obviously, Sherry, our queen, quit after last episode. Not only were the fans disappointed, everyone in the game was distraught by this news. Everyone except for one, which we'll get to. But we start the episode as Callie so wonderfully points out. Faith was like, "Oh, love Sherry. I can't believe she's the one to quit." We hear a lot about returners basically lost a number. Do we feel like that is the bulk of what happened when Sherry left? Like, how does it leave the tribe after watching this episode? Do we think Sherry leaving is just basically what McQuad wanted to happen, but rather than Meisner, it was a returner?
Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, I think that given how much everyone seemed to be in love with Sherry, I think it probably opened up a winner spot, since I think we can all agree she would have won if she had not quit. But otherwise, it ends up being a returnee, which you think maybe could lessen the target on them being like that they're not as large of an alliance. But no, it sticks. Sherry was not the big target there, so really didn't shift too much.
It's one of those really unfortunate what ifs because I don't think Sherry was going to be targeted. Like, unlike season, I think 4, the first time she played, where it was like she was fighting just to survive a tribal council and she was always going to be out early. This season, it really felt like she was probably like the 4th returning that was going to be voted out of 4 returnees. Plus, then she had the Katie On connection she was starting to make on the other side, as is the entire world, but it's fine. And it just sort of felt like Sherry was never going to be targeted. And it's well known how well liked she was. So it really would have been interesting to see how she did had she gone further in the game. But yeah, probably in the end, it's just one of those, the returners plus Meisner lost a number, and McQuad plus Sam got what they wanted, except even better because they got rid of a returnee instead of a Meisner, who's always going to be a target. So it just kind of worked out really well for them. Plus, they didn't have to show their cards the way they were going to have to, which I think really worked out for them, and has now happened twice. But we'll see how it plays everything going forward. But it's really sad. I think no one was happy that Sherry had to quit for a very real life reason like that.
Yeah, and I'd say too, especially like between us talking about it, fans talking about it, and the aftermath of when she actually quit, like everybody loved Sherry. She definitely could have gone so far in this game and been a really big threat, not just as a returner, but as a personality to them. So, like, even to McQuad, even though it wasn't their plan for her to quit, they got a returner. They got someone who might have outdone them all in the end as well.
Yeah. And I think we also do get a bit of McQuad. They say like Tony was about to give his necklace to Sam at Tribal. And they didn't have to. Sherry luckily stepped up before Tony did. Or worse, he didn't. And then it's like, Tony really. We talked about this extensively. It's like, would Tony have done this? How would it have affected him? He didn't have to do it. At the end of the day, McQuad got to, they got to get rid of her attorney. They didn't have to do anything. They get to keep all these alliances. And this episode, we see, they even get more alliances. We have Faith making a girls' alliance without Sam, but with the other 2 girls on the tribe. How do we all feel about Faith bringing back the girls' alliance? And stick with what you know.
Yeah, I love that. And I don't think, like, she wasn't framing it as a girls' alliance. Like, she was saying, like, these are 2 freshmen that I get along with, and I'm going to pull them under my wings. Like, I love Faith so much, and I love the way that she's, like, playing, like, knowing that she's a returnee, knowing that she's, like, more or less better than all of these people. Like, she was like, my tribe is so stupid, like, I have to do everything. And I love her for that. And I think it is, like, as somebody who is in that position of, like, I've played before, these people are already, like, looking at me as this, like, bigger threat, bigger, target in the game. So what I can do is like lean into that position and say like yes, and that's exactly what she's doing. And I think she's like, I think a lot of the other returnees are like, how can I slip under the radar? How can I do this? And obviously, it's not necessarily like working to Faith's best interest because of this opposing newbie alliance. But I think that if they hadn't come together and said like, screw all of the returnees, like this is what we're doing. Like if Faith was on Sababa, I think she'd be in a much better spot because they're not all teaming up against the returnees. But she's just on this tribe where the newbies are like, let's get out the returnees. But I do think that like scooping up two freshmen that like have strategic minds and like have a mind for this and that you're going to be able to work with is a very good thing to do.
Yeah, I really liked her mindset later on in the episode where she's talking about how I'm going to play really active because if I'm not, like, they're just going to assume like I am anyway. And that's something about College Survivor that is underrated. Whereas if you are like on a beach with the same people, they can see if you are sitting idly in the shelter all day and not playing. But if you're on college, like a campus, you could be anywhere. And so with someone like Faith, you're always going to be assuming that she's playing really hard. And if not with you, then with someone else. So the only problem being that it seems like everyone else also has the same idea about the two freshman girls, so they are spoiled with options.
Yeah, on that note of being anywhere, like Katie running into Mike and Eggroll after that tribal, I was like, yeah, of course. Of course. And of course it's Katie that does that because she's like immediately going to get all the tea right away anyway. So she's like, yeah, just give it to me. Like, what happened? So good.
Yeah, it's the best part about College Survivor. They're all on the same campus, so they will run into each other.
Everybody's everywhere.
Yep.
How do we feel about Majesta as a tribe, you know, before they had gone to tribal, but after last episode? Do we feel like that tribe are we loving it? Are we hating it? Do we think it's about to crash and burn? Do we think they're going to be a united front? They are a family.
I mean, from that tribe in particular, I get very like Edge of Extinction, we hate all returnees with a passion for no reason vibe. And especially like Miranda, like right after the meeting with like Faith and Jack, is just like, yeah, we told her everything, and I actually hate Faith, and I don't want to work with Faith, and screw Faith, and like I hate Faith basically. And I was like, okay, like I don't really understand where this is coming from because it seems like Faith is completely 100% genuine with you. So even if you don't want to work with Faith long term, why are you so I want to get rid of Faith as fast as humanly possible? Just because she will be a number for you specifically once the returnees crash and burn, if that's what you want to happen. And yeah, it's funny that you use the term family, considering exactly what happened at Tribal, where they're having this entire argument, which is the dumbest argument in existence, is because they know exactly what's about to happen. And like, they know it's, again, Survivor historian, very one world, like someone's already been medevaced. What the hell are you doing arguing at Tribal? Like someone's literally asked to vote it out. What the hell are you doing arguing at Tribal, especially with the people in your own alliance? And then Faith was like, yeah, one big happy family. And I burst out laughing out loud. That was fantastic. But just, it's one of those where I can't wait to see how this tribe implodes. And based off scenes from the next episode, it might happen really quick. So I'm super excited.
I think of this tribe as like a water surface tension test where you're just continuously like putting the drops in and they keep putting the drops in and it's like almost gonna burst and you're just seeing how many drops you can get in before that water bursts. And I think that's exactly what this tribe is. And it's like they're so close to bursting at any moment, but it's like, oh, okay, here's a drop that doesn't go over and it's Sherry quitting. Here's a drop that doesn't go over and it's Meisner quitting. And it's like, but one of these times there's going to be the drop that bursts it. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see like what is that, and maybe it is just going to a real tribal that's going to be that final drop. But like that's what I think that this tribe is just a surface tension test, like a few drops away from bursting.
In that same vein, it would almost be a little comical, like not saying I want this to happen, if they lost again and somebody's like, you know what, I gotta dip out for whatever reason, and then they still can't vote.
It's hard because I kind of feel like I want this tribe to be a little more fluid. I want to see what it looks like when everyone is kind of a little more open and not so like set. But I think until we see that first vote actually go through, then it's likely that they are going to just default back to the same thing over and over because they're not going to want to like go into untested waters, and they would rather stick with what they know until they actually get to shore up something. But I'm excited for once that does finally happen.
My
Let's talk-
favorite. Oh wait, I wanted to say my favorite new relationship that came out of this tribe in this episode was Sam and Eric Eggroll. That was my favorite conversation. First of all, I love that Sam has like every meeting in a stairwell. She's like,
Kicks her
she's
friends
like
out.
just passing through, like whatever. It's so funny to me. And then she's like, yeah, my friends are just out there. She's like, this won't take long. And it's so funny that they're like such opposite players. Like if you can call Sam a player, and it's just like trying to form that relationship. And then later on, like when Sam is meeting with the other newbies, and she's like, "Oh, I have Eric. Don't worry." Yeah, the creepy crawlers. She's
Which
like,
one do we like better, McQuad or Creepy Crawlers?
I hate McQuad.
I
You know
hate McQuad.
Yeah, can I throw them both away? Those are both
No.
trash.
I also don't like creepy crawlers. No, we need a better one.
I like creepy crawlers because Sam said it. And
I
that
like
makes
the name
me
creepy
happy.
crawlers.
I'm sorry, we hate the name McQuad?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
I vividly, I don't even think it was episode 3. JS was saying like they kept doing like McQuad doing this, and
Yeah,
I
that's so
texted Aaron and go, McQuad needs to make shut up. Like I can't do this anymore.
My favorite is like they were trying to make it all dramatic. They were just like McQuad and like turning to the camera, and I was like, that made it worse. That made it so
made
much worse. Please never do that again, ever. And if you do, Anders, please edit it out. I never want to see that again.
I feel like it's one thing if you name your alliance and like that's how you refer to it in confessionals, or like I don't know if other people find out that's how they refer to it, but I'm like you took it too far with the posing.
I disagree. I think if you're going to come up with with an alliance and you're going to name it a certain thing, you just got to go for it. And maybe this is the big brother in talking to me, but sometimes a stupid alliance name with a pose and whatever is funny. It's a funny thing to reference. All right, everyone all summer was doing the mafia thing. Suddenly, it's not cool to do a pose and a name.
Oh yeah, the Big Brother Mafia thing was always really cool.
Not cool, but funny at least.
It's only funny if you have an Australian accent in a song that everybody can make fun of.
Well, just wait and see, I guess.
There's just slowly editing all of the McQuads out.
Let me just delete a lot of this. Oh, it took out 30 minutes of this next episode. Also, we have the Queen Katie in the chat.
Hi,
Yes.
Katie.
Hello, Katie. We love you.
All right, so let's talk about Sababa. So we can get to the Katie of it all in a moment, but we have to talk about the real star of this episode. Michaela sighting! Michaela sighting!
I legitimately had no idea there was someone named Michaela on the season until her confession.
I wrote
I
Michaela
didn't either.
confessional in all caps in my notes, like 3 exclamation points. I was like, this is the most exciting moment of the episode.
I
that
still
I've
couldn't
ever
tell you
seen.
what she looks like. To me, she's a generic white female. I don't know what she looks like.
I literally had to sit there after her confessional for at least a couple minutes. Like, has she been here this whole time? Are we sure?
Sherry quit. They needed to bring in a replacement. It's fine.
It's all
One of the other tribes.
Michaela's actually a crew member. Sometimes they just had her come in for. No, you're all haters of Michaela, all right? She's relevant.
In my defense, I'm very bad at learning names on these shows quickly. So I remember the first few episodes, I thought Dylan was Doug. And then like
Fair.
all these white boys, I'm like, you're all the same to me. I'm
Doug
sorry.
is not white, though.
He isn't.
No, I'm not saying those two, but like
Oh, okay.
the other ones.
Look, it's fine. We had 2 Dylans and 3 Erics. You know, sometimes that happens. So I don't blame you for that. I will say, Michaela's here. She just has the least amount of screen time of everyone, including Sabrina and Sherry and now Meisner. But she's still around, so there's always time. But anyways, Andrew tells everyone about his disadvantage game changer. Wow, a member of Sababa not telling everyone about their game changer immediately. Groundbreaking, but still doing it later. How do we all feel about that?
I think that's one that he should have owned up to
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
That's fully a tribe advantage. And now I'm looking at you as, and I love Andrew. He is my winner pick. Like, I'm standing by that. And I think he had a great episode. But that moment, like, and I think that this is something that, like, plays to at least the newbies, and maybe the returnees just didn't want to bring this up. But like, if somebody is coming to me like a few days after they find something and they're like, "Oh, this is to help the tribe. Like, I found this," and I'm like, "When did you find that? At the last challenge?" And you're just now bringing it up. Now I'm like, okay, now I know that you're able to be sneaky and you're able to find things in front of everybody and not have people notice. Other than Michaela, Queen Michaela noticed, but yeah, that felt like a misstep to me, but nobody else called it a misstep in the
Yeah.
episode, so I think he's going to be able to get away with it. But it's those kinds of things that are like, if he gets away with little things like that, I think he's going to think he can get away with bigger things in the future.
I feel like almost because it was like a whole tribe advantage disadvantage type scenario, they were like, oh, well, like it affects all of us during something public. It's fine. It's not like he was hiding an idol clue or something like that.
But the thing is, actually, it's funny you say that, because if someone brought a game changer to me like 2 days later, I'd be like, okay.
I'd be skeptical.
I'd be like, where's the idol clue that they didn't show us? Like, clearly this is the one that affects the tribe. Where's the individual advantage that they didn't show us? And that's the reason they were hiding it in the first place. So I would 100% think, okay, boom, he's got an idol clue. Screw it. And he doesn't. Like, that's the survivor paranoia in you talking. But, like, that would just immediately be my first thought of, clearly this isn't, like, even remotely controversial where you should not share it with us immediately. So what else was part of this that caused you to not share it with us?
I mean, to be fair, at the same challenge, they all found the other advantage, which was an idol clue. So they had no reason to believe there were others. How many game changes did I have at each challenge? Well, you'll see the ones that matter. So don't worry about it. 800,000.
Well, but it's not even about being suspicious, like, between the time. It's just when he reveals it to you several days later, and then thinking back and being like, oh, why didn't you bring this up sooner?
Right.
Especially when Michaela saw you and you know Michaela saw you. Like, take it at the very
Yeah,
least.
why is Michaela not
immediately.
telling everybody?
Like,
Yeah.
So
what are
she-
you doing?
She was
She saw the
silent. That's why she's more
advantage.
confessional.
She saw the advantage and did not take it because she didn't know she could take it. And so Andrew took it before she could find it and was like, oh, you took it. This could have been Michaela's advantage. Remember that? Could have had a game changer.
And she will. And I trust that
And-
she will.
Did he open it at the challenge? Because I feel like I could write it off if it's like, okay, you found it, you put it in your pocket, and then you didn't want to open it there because it would be so obvious. And you went home, realized it's a tribe advantage, and then it's like, oh, now I can tell everyone. Like at that point, I'm like, all right, you found something, and like fair play. I also would not open this at the challenge.
But take a picture and put it in the chat. Don't come back 3 days later and be like, hey, can
Yeah,
we meet,
sure.
guys? Like,
I mean, somebody did. Didn't Faith open the one that she found at this challenge in this episode?
Yes,
Yeah.
To
Bold of her.
herself, yes.
Right.
I just wouldn't.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I
I'm with
understand.
you, Scally. I
understand
wouldn't
Scally's
either.
point of saying, like, I'd not open it right there because in the chance it's not a whole tribe thing, like, you don't want people to hear about that and then feel like you have to tell them because everybody's staring at you right there.
Now let's go to the Katie of it all. Number one besties time. So the scene gets started off with Andrew bringing information to Katie about Tony. What I just want to bring up here, and I think is so important to differentiate this from season 7, you have a roommate pair, and they're both friends with Katie. But importantly, they all don't trust each other. They all tell each other information the other person should not know.
Mm-hmm. I
That was
love
my-
it. Yeah.
We love
that was
that.
actually my favorite part of the entire episode, I think, of like Tony just being like, do not tell this to Katie, okay? Like, she won't go for it. And then the SpongeBob, like 3 seconds later. And then he's just like, so Katie, Tony told me not to tell you this thing. And I was just like, this is beautiful because these guys, and they were roommates. Like, there was no better way to make this scenario happen of like, this person and this person are childhood friends. Hey, don't tell my childhood friend this thing. Hey, I know my roommate told you not to tell his childhood friend this, but I'm going to anyways. Like, none of that made any sense, but it made for the most entertaining, like, 5 minutes of this episode by far. I loved every part of that.
And what I loved about that too was Tony himself, he was like, yeah, the returnees, like, they're the ones we have to get out because they all know each other. Like, it's a huge advantage. And I'm like, you have a roommate and a childhood friend in this game. Like, why are you mad at the returnees who, like, most of them didn't even play on the same season, like, barely know each other. Like, they have no more of an advantage than you do, if that's what we're looking at.
And the ones that played on the same season, by the way, voted each other out and hate each other with a passion. Like Doug and Eggroll and like Faith and Dylan are theoretically not going to be working together. You have a bigger advantage than them, and you're still like, nah, screw them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, because it makes sense where Tony tells Andrew, like, okay, if we're going to do something that Katie's not going to be on board with, like, we probably can't tell her about it. Okay. But then trying to work with her moving forward, do you want to give her that heads up? It's like debatable. So I think that it was reasonable to say, like, all right, you're obviously not going to be able to tell Katie because she's going to work against this happening. So while I do like both of them, I think that Andrew may have messed up here in telling Katie if he actually wants to get this accomplished, though.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that Andrew doesn't necessarily want to get that accomplished. Like, I think his loyalties are with Katie more so than they are with Tony or like with any other group. I think that Andrew is not necessarily like scared of this returnee contingent and returnee coalition. At least that's the vibes that I'm getting. He feels solid with Katie. He's building his own individual relationships, and I think we saw that a lot this episode, with him like having these individual meetings, like especially with Jess and with Michaela, and like he is putting in the work on his end to like have his own individual relationships. So I think that he's good to like, yeah, more be sticking with Katie, and like also she's the one on his tribe. So I feel like we're also missing that layer of it where Tony's like, hey, we're making this plan, like blah blah blah, don't do this, don't tell Katie if you're gonna do this, blah blah blah. But it's like, Tony, you're not on my tribe, but Katie is on my tribe. She's somebody that I'm working with. Like, we live together, but like that's business. Like we're doing this outside of this. So I feel like his loyalties are more with Katie than they are with Tony, and that's why he was like saying that and bringing that to her. And I think that, and I think it really reinforced his position with Katie too, because she's like, I don't want Andrew going anywhere. Like, he's giving me information. And so if Katie wants you in the game, that's the best spot you can be in right now, baby.
And like, to be fair, the vibes of the returnees on both tribes are completely different. So like, Tony's seeing these returnees linked up immediately. They're this tight 4, now still a tight 3. We need to like take out that tight alliance. Andrew's seeing, yeah, they're kind of together, but kind of not. And they're all kind of doing sub-branching alliances. So like, whatever. I want to work with Katie. So it's one of those situations where like Aaron says, yeah, because Andrew and Katie are in the same tribe, because they understand their tribe's like vibe a little bit more than Tony, who's like, screw the returnees, the way everyone is on Majesta. Like, that's not the way Sababa's going. And also 2 great tribe names, very rare. Like, coming from Survivor Michigan, thank God to have 2 great tribe names.
No base squad, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
next time.
And yeah, season 7, don't worry, you'll make up for the worst tribe names in Survivor history. But like, anyways, back to Survivor Maryland. You just, I see what Andrew was trying to do there. I just don't think he needed to throw Tony under the bus that hard, where he was just like, by the way, Tony told me not to tell you this thing. It was Tony that told me that not to tell you. Do not trust Tony. Here we go. I'm like, dude, you're still going to work with Tony long term, probably. Like, don't throw Tony under the bus this badly. You could just be like, hey, by the way, there's a newbie thing against the returnees. Don't worry, I'm not going with that. And that exact same like message would have come across. But now you're just like, Tony sucks. You should hate Tony. Tony's the worst. And like, I think Katie's just like, cool, can't trust Tony. Like, now I know. And Andrew just kind of screwed him a little bit, which is, if that's what he was going for, good for him. But if not, I think that was an unintentional consequence right there.
But if that takes McQuad down and leaves Jack not touched, I'm fine with it.
Very true.
Now, we see Katie make her #1 besties with all the other returners. I mean, she's putting in work. She and Doug, she and Morgan, Queens. I mean, the Jasmine of the season, as described by Morgan. And then we have her and Dylan getting married.
Yep.
I mean, we see Dylan. Last episode, Dylan's all about, if I have to be the last returnee, winner take all, right? And this episode, he's like, well, I really don't want Katie to find out about this idol, so I better tell her so that she doesn't get mad at me. And making a final 2 with Katie. I mean, her power.
Her power, truly. Yeah, I wrote it down. I think her #1s at this point are Andrew, Tony, Morgan, Doug, and Dylan. Maybe more, but that's what I've got down at the moment.
Michaela?
Who knows?
People say like there are Survivor players that you'll meet and it's like, oh, I get it. Like I would throw away my game for this person. And that's Katie.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
you meet Katie and you're like, I
100%.
understand how this happened.
Well, Survivor 45 taught us you can have multiple number ones and have everyone know that you have multiple number ones, and that's completely fine, apparently, because number one, there's many of those in when you're counting. Of course, I always count 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. That's how I count too. Also, so I totally get that. So well done on Katie for taking advantage of this new era in Survivor, where you can have 7 number ones, tell everyone about them, and everyone still loves you.
Ahead of her time, truly. New era from
just-
however many years ago was
Yeah, this
it?
was 2017, and now in 2023, this was the plan. So Katie on basically caused CBS Survivor to happen 6 years in advance. So well done on that. I don't really get how she does this. She's like, obviously I've never met her in person, so I don't understand the power of Katie as much as so many people do. So I don't really get how we get to the point where like every single person trusts her and everyone knows that everyone trusts her and everyone knows she's a big threat. And they're just like, but still, despite that, we want to work with Katie. Like, I don't get that at all. To me, that's like, okay, that's someone I want to work with until I vote them out. Like, because they're going to win. These people are all just like, well, if my game goes to shit for Katie, like, cool, at least Katie wins. Like, no, absolutely not. Especially the returnees. Like, you're on your second chance. Aren't you trying to win? No, they just want Katie to win. So, like, great for Katie, honestly.
I mean, there's two people who are very vehemently anti-Katie. I mean, Meisner, which we'll hopefully talk more about. And then at the challenge, Miranda made it very clear, and she's the nice one, huh?
That was insane. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
That was insane. Are we on to the challenge now? Is that
Let's.
what we're talking about?
Do you guys
now?
have any? Let's hear Sam, Scally. Do you guys or Sam? Do you have any opinions on Katie and her number one besties?
I think as we're talking about it, you know, she's got all these number ones. It's reminding me of this current season of the challenge that just ended when, spoilers if you haven't watched, Michelle's in the house. Everybody's like, I'm Michelle's number one. At some point, they all figured out, like, a lot of them are not her number ones. So while Katie's in a great position now, while everybody's, you know, obviously like, I'm for Katie, we're going to the end. When people start figuring that out, I'm a little scared of how it's going to go for Katie. And I love Katie. I would love for her to go to the end and win. And everyone just keep believing they're Katie's number ones. And let's keep her around.
Number one besties. So the challenge. All right. Here we have Survivor Sumo. To give you just a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here with Survivor Sumo, what a hell of a challenge to have run. It was hell to run. Some people were a little drunk. I don't know if you could tell.
Really?
Everyone was angry at every decision made by the judges.
You mean the guy that took all of his clothes off wasn't sober?
Oh, Meisner wasn't the drunk
Yeah, I
one.
was like, I think he was sober. Hold on.
What?
Insane. Insane.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that night was one of the worst challenges I've ever run.
Oh my god.
And I'll say this: technically, in sumo, we made them do best of 3 matchups, so they all had to go
Oh.
3 times. And I cut it down. I said we do not need that. So
No.
when these people are talking about they're tired and they're bleeding and whatnot, it's because they went at it for much longer. But it's still very funny that ultimately Mike did lose by running out of the circle.
That is so funny. That was so deserved. So funny. Fucking like flexing into the camera beforehand. He's like, get that. Look at that. I think he
Horrendous.
did that like 12 different times. Like he's like, focus on that. Get that. I'm like, yeah, get out. And like also wearing a tank top and shorts when like everybody else was wearing coats. And it's like clearly like 40 degrees out. And he's like, I'm strong. I am a man. And I'm like, shut up. Anyway, as you
George
know.
may be anti-men.
I love a himbo. And so if you want to just be a little goofy and make yourself look dumb, like I'm gonna enjoy it.
I love a himbo too. He does not get that title. Absolutely not.
He was too into himself in that moment to be a himbo, though.
Yeah, himbos don't know that they're hot shit. That's what makes them himbos. They're just hot, dumb guys who don't know anything. And those
Honestly,
are the men
Anders-
that deserve rights.
Anders, you saying like everyone hated every decision you make completely checks out, because I actually like saw especially when the disadvantage and advantage both got played, and the disadvantage was someone sits out and Faith immediately sits out, and the advantage was someone starts with 2 points. And first off, completely unbalanced, but like whatever. And so then I just saw everybody's reaction of like whoever had, I think it was Sababa that was like down 2 points immediately. They all looked like they wanted to murder you like immediately as soon as you said Majesta starts with 2 points. So the fact that you said they were against every decision totally checks out based off of that one facial reaction alone.
You have to understand, I didn't create these advantage and disadvantage so they could be used at the same time. The idea would be like you'd use the advantage one round and then the next round someone would disadvantage. They weren't made to be like, oh, they're equal and will balance out. It's like, no, the advantage could be really, really good or just kind of whatever. And to be clear, 2 points is really good. Theoretically, in this challenge, you'd only be going in 2 times anyway.
Yeah.
So this just guaranteed you get those faith points right away. Having faith in would have been great because you still would have won her rounds. But they still would have lost. Let's be clear. Even if Faith was there, they're still going to lose. Mike's throwing himself out of the ring. Tony's getting pushed out by his own body weight. The only person who can win anything is apparently JS.
Yeah, Eggroll's reaction afterwards was fantastic. He's just like, yeah, I don't think that was that bad. I mean, we won like 6 points. Wait a second. No, we got 2 for free. We only won 4. Yeah, we were terrible. Like that was just in the moment, in the confessional, like reset of no, that was horrible. That was the best reaction to sucking in a challenge I think I've ever seen.
We have Miranda colliding with Michaela. Okay, Michaela, queen of causing concussions.
So true.
I didn't
shows
realize
up
that was
and
Michaela
said,
she
"I'm
collided
taking
with
you down."
until just now. Like that's how much I don't realize Michaela's in this season.
She slayed in the challenge though. She won 2 rounds.
So did everyone on Sababa. That doesn't really count.
It counts. She did great, and not everybody won both of their rounds.
Dylan didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, how do we feel about challenge performances in this episode of the mighty JS conquering Andrew? I mean, and Miranda and
Andrew's
Jack.
so tiny. He's so teeny tiny, and I get that like JS is too, but I feel like JS has just like slightly more bulk than Andrew does. Andrew's a beanpole.
JS
The
does
wind
not have
could
any
blow-
bulk
the wind
whatsoever.
JS also
JS
doesn't
has
have
0%
bulk.
body
Okay,
fat.
but
What
the
bulk
That's the
are you
same.
talking about?
More than
Big
Andrew. The
man.
wind could blow Andrew over. The wind would beat him in this challenge. That's all
I
I'm
could take
saying.
down JS. What's your point?
But you didn't. That's the important part. He still won.
Didn't go to Maryland.
Scoreboard.
Scoreboard. I
But,
thought,
like-
yeah, Meisner and Mike complaining and being like, "There's a bullshit challenge," like blah blah blah. And I'm like, the points are objective at the end of the day. What happens in the challenge, sure, whatever, say what you want, but objectively, how you get a point is objective. And like, I get you can be contentious about rulings or whatever, but like, also shut up.
And they were. They were screaming about our
Oh,
refs.
I believe it. I believe it. We've done.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have played a game with Austin Trupp, and I can confirm he can be a bullshitter sometimes. So
Look, and I don't disagree with them, but at the end of the day, you lost. I don't know what you want. We
Wait,
can't
so
make you
did
win.
Meisner actually punch Dylan? Because from
Yeah.
the camera angle, it just kind of looked like he did a fist bump and missed him. And then they were like, "Whoa, he punched him!" And Dylan was like, "He punched me." And I was like, "Did he punch him?" Like, because it just
Like,
did not
somebody
look like
said
that.
That was
at
my
all.
question
Wrong.
too.
I don't think like legitimately punched. I think it was like at best, it's like I don't know. He didn't punch him. Is the point?
No.
Everyone
He
is
was-
being dramatic in this challenge.
Oh, were they? Couldn't tell.
Katie. I mean, you have in the beginning Sam and Meisner going, "Kill them, kill them."
No, literally saying like hurt her. Like that's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane. Sorry,
You're-
that's
A
crazy.
bit much.
you're not
That was
Courtney
heroes
Abe.
versus
This is
villains,
not
break
you.
her shoulder, and then someone did. Like that's what that was. Where I was like, "What is going on here? Why?" Like I get you might not be sober. I get you're passionate. Let's not call to injure anybody, please, on College Survivor. Please, I beg you. We don't have
Yeah.
medics standing by for every child. We might have med students, but like that's the closest we got.
Yeah, and that's where, especially where it's happening, I'm like, all right, this is not really super cute. But then when Miranda's like, oh, I thought Katie was the nice one. It's like, have you not heard what was being said to her right before this?
That
Like, we're
was
gonna
my
blame her?
thing. I was
Probably
like,
say
oh
something
my
bad.
god. That made me hate Miranda. I was like, literally, she is just
Miranda just
taking
hates
all of the
everyone
shit.
but Jack, apparently. Like, she's like, screw
Ugh.
Faith with a passion. I thought Katie was the nice one.
Yeah.
I thought I had a concussion, so whatever. I'm sitting out JS. I thought I had a concussion. Fuck you. Like, I was like, damn, this woman just hates everybody, which, like, very entertaining. I love watching it, but I feel like if I was playing with her, I'd be like, I can't stand this woman. But like I said, love watching it. Love that she's yelling at people. Hilarious. Do that more.
Very that.
I mean, there was a lot of great head-to-heads. People really loved the Jack versus Katie. My favorite moment in this challenge, by far, is besides Meisner stripping and attacking Micah for no reason, which
Ridiculous.
comes out of nowhere. It's just
Micah
funny
just
to me.
also just picks him up so easily. Like he's like,
And when
he's
he was like,
no.
either like, don't film this or edit this out. And I was like, I love that they just kept that in anyways. They were just like, yep, he asked not to. And you were like, nope, we're keeping that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You randomly just started stripping in the battlefield and attacked Micah. What do you want me to do? Ignore this?
Right.
And then my favorite part is at the end, Jack going, "No, Sam, I've got this. I got this." Immediately loses. Did not have this.
That was so funny. I got this. I wish you would have let Katie go after Meisner though. I think that would have been a
That
great
should have been
matchup.
allowed.
No.
I think that would have been the end of Katie on. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. The way
No,
Meisner was acting
it would
at
have
that
been
challenge,
the end of Eric Meisner, actually.
At
Yeah.
that point, I think she was so rage-fueled, like she could
Yeah.
have taken
Oh
him.
yeah, the adrenaline would take her.
Someone beating
I mean,
Katie. I've never seen it before. so-
Exactly. Exactly.
She did say she would beat his ass, so
Mhm. And you should have
Um,
let her.
and then he was trying to present his ass to her, apparently, the way he was stripping.
also another great moment is after JS wins, everyone's screaming and Eric Meisner goes, "All right, calm down. It's not that
That was so funny.
Anytime
So-
Meisner says anything, it's just the dumbest thing in existence, which makes it hilarious.
True.
Everyone keep it calm like Meisner. That's the goal.
If you just have the attitude like Meisner, I mean, you'll succeed in the game of Survivor. We have Majesta losing once again, womp womp. But the first thing we get is Eric Meisner telling them, "Oh, I have some family news. I've got to go." A peek behind the curtain here of just, I would never make any libel or lies of someone, but Eric Meisner is of a dubious sort sometimes with claims of things that happened to him or of ailments and whatnot. So I think a part of when he said, "I've got to leave this game," everyone's a little bit wary because before the first challenge, he did also claim he had a herniated disc and like made weird claims like that. So I think when you think of, oh, he had to go, he had this family emergency, he might have. But he also had a lot of other excuses at times. So important to note that he is of the type at points to have done that. Anyways, we get Faith has an advantage. I just want to put that out there. Just you're also like lame. Faith gets an advantage, which is a tribe swap. She can control it. How do we all feel about that being a game changer?
That was great until I saw Miranda had the exact same advantage. And then I was like, well, that ruins everything. So if they play that at the same time, what happens there? They just re-swap with different captains. They each pick one captain. What the hell happens?
Yeah, I don't know if this would spoil it. Like, is there any limitations on that? Like, if one played it one round, can the next person do it the very next round? Just switch it up again? Can they do it at the same time? Like, does that get answered?
So yeah, in the next episode it gets answered.
Okay.
But basically, in the rules of it, it's the first one of these tribe swaps to be played nullifies the rest. So if you're at a challenge,
Oh.
if you raise it up first, yours is the one that matters.
It's always
And
gonna be a race then.
Oh yeah, this just got more exciting now.
Yes.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was disappointed thinking that like Faith would be like, all right, let's go, drafts the team, and then Miranda's like, let's redraft actually.
Mhm.
Very big
That's what I
brother.
was worried
Yeah.
about. Yeah. I love the advantage though. I think it's great. I think that because swaps are always something that you're like thinking about. You're like, is it coming this round? Like you always kind of speculate when it's coming. So to give that power to a player to be like, oh, I know when it's coming because it's coming when I want it to, is crazy and is incredible. And I think who has she shared that with? She shared it with Mike, and then she shared it with Miranda and Jack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then all of the tribe probably knows by now.
Well, and then later it was explained that they told this to all of McQuad
Right.
because that's part of the
Yes.
reason why she was being targeted. So, like,
Yeah.
basically,
Right.
everyone on this tribe knows that of these game changers and that
Yes.
Faith and Miranda have them.
Right. It's yeah. I think it's really interesting that the same people from the same tribe found them, because then the other tribe has zero power in where the swap is happening. So they're just gonna be playing like regular Survivor, like speculating when the swap is gonna happen, like just keep it going on their own path, doing Sababa things, being iconic. And then the Majesta over here are going to be playing as to like, okay, if I make this move now, then I can just play this and we can swap next round and like be totally fine and like be thinking that way, which is really interesting. And I think that that really more benefits Quad now, given that they have like more numbers. And especially with Sam on their side, like they can make a big move and then force a swap. But it also might be bad for them to do that because it's like they have the numbers on this tribe. So do they necessarily want a swap at this point and potentially like swap into a tribe with more returnees or like more Sababas or something like that? So I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm really because we even hear the theory thrown around of like, all right, let's just make this all returnees versus all newbies. But then it's like, all right, then who do you vote out when you lose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Mike said that, I was like, that is the dumbest thought I've ever heard. Because
Also, you can't force, like, you can pick the captains, but say you pick, like, a newbie and a returnee captain, you're not going to force the returnee to pick all returnees.
Yeah.
Like
You don't get to do that.
Like there has to be a thought in the back of your mind that like, okay, if we put this up to a returnee as a captain, they're gonna put a couple newbies on there so they can take him out. They're not just gonna be like, yep, all returnees, we're gonna go at it right now. Like, no, that's dumb.
I definitely do want like a horrible swap on both sides where it's just like 4-3 returnees on one and like 5-2 newbies on another, and everyone is trying to throw the challenge for like 3 weeks in a row. That's what I just desperately want to happen because those are the double throws are the best kinds of challenge results in its Survivor history for sure.
Yeah, Anders, can we use this at disadvantage on ourselves, actually?
If they were to ask me that, the answer would be of course.
Well, if you want.
I mean, pull my arm, I'll do it. Twist my arm, I'll do it. Make it harder for you?
Could you imagine being the person like out of the loop on that decision though, and you're like,
For real.
what's happening?
So let's say you're all in Faith's position. You have this tribe swap. You do not know that there is this majority alliance against you on your tribe. Do you use it at the next challenge?
No, because you think you're in
No.
such a great position as Faith, where you're like, I got my returnees here, I got Jack and Miranda here, we've got JS and Sam clearly on the bottom, and then sort of Tony also. You think you're in a great position if you're Faith. So she's probably like, I will get rid of JS and Sam, and then I'll use it, like kind of thing, where it's like, let me just get rid of these, like, oh God, that would be horrendous. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm in such a good position, I don't need to use it, and it's hilarious because the fact that she thinks she's in such a good position and working with Jack and Miranda could very easily have screwed her this episode. It could screw her in the future. And it could lead to like the fact that she's like, no, I'm not going to use it. I'm safe. And you have the entire audience of Survivor Maryland going, use it, Faith, use it now, save yourself. Just all of us are doing that. And I really hope she survives. I desperately hope she survives.
Yeah, it's tough because like if you don't think about it enough, I think it's pretty easy to forget and think like, oh, obviously she's going to use it next episode. But then when you look and you could save it for a rainy day, that's very tempting when she doesn't know that it was so possible that she went home this episode and never even got the chance to use it in the first place.
And what do we think about the pivot by McQuad here? I mean, the game changers do change the game here. Mike is a great target for them because of all the connections he has that Faith doesn't have. But Faith game changer means if she's not the one taken out, she uses this.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. And given that if she wouldn't use it and thinks she's in a good position, then exposing that she's in a bad position would make her use it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, like knowing the rules of it too, you could just be like, okay, Miranda, you have to be like ready and like race her to hold it up, and we can still get out Mike.
Yeah.
And that's my own personal biases speaking for sure. But I think it makes sense. The pivot there definitely makes sense because why would you give her the opportunity to swap herself into a better position after blindsiding her? Like that's a terrible thing to do. So I think that it definitely does make sense, and I think that it sucks that she trusted these two people to, be on her side, and they just were like, actually, no, you're a returnee, so I hate you. And yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah, otherwise Miranda's going to be sleeping outside Black Friday style, ready to use that advantage
Right.
first at the challenge location. Like, I was here
Exactly.
first.
So they lose, and what should be a pretty straightforward vote. Unlike with Sherry when she quit, Meisner was very upfront, like, I think you should all vote me out. Everyone immediately goes, yeah, we can do Meisner. But if we weren't to do Meisner, and we see these two plans form, not the egg roll and Sam that was talked about in episode 1. No, we were past that. It's back to Faith or JS.
Yeah, I love how we've just had completely different targets every single episode on Majesta. Like, I get these people are playing fast, but you're playing a little too fast here, guys. You haven't had a single real vote, and you've had 5 targets on your tribe at this point.
It's been interesting. I mean, JS early is like talking about how was it last episode even? Where I forget, where they were talking about how oh, these returnees are making such mistakes, like thinking of they should be using me as a shield. Where I don't even know if that is like doable at this point. Jay is all over the place. Jay sharing information with everyone. I don't know if Jay is someone that you can like keep in and feel good about it to a certain point. So I'm not really surprised that people are coming for JS at this point.
I wrote down Eggroll said like I don't want to do too much, and then JS said same here, and I'm like, you don't want to do too much? You are doing too much all the time. In fact, the most all the time.
Knows.
That was insane to me. That comment, I had to write that down. I was like, that's the most insane thing you've ever said, and that's like saying something. But I have conflicting feelings on this situation in general, just because if somebody is directly asking to be voted out for a like personal family like mental health reason, and like this was obviously before I knew that he had like a history of doing this or whatever.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Did
but
we
like
hear about his grandma after the fact?
Yeah, I mean, he made a post she made an Instagram post celebrating her birthday after he got voted out.
Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday, Grandma.
Eric Johnny Fairplay Meisner over here.
But
wow, what a great lie to get him out of the game.
Yeah, Zane and Fairplay combined.
No, exactly. And I'm like, I just feel like if somebody is directly asking to be voted out, and honestly, regardless of the reason, but especially if it's like a mental health, like family reason, you have to honor that. And it is insanely disrespectful to not only the person who's asking to be voted out, but also whoever you actually do vote out to not honor that. Because then you voted somebody out who really wants to be here, who really actively is trying, just to be like, oh, I made a move, while somebody is like actively being asked to be removed from the game. And that's like, as somebody who cares a lot about Survivor, that's really shitty to me. If I ever see you keep somebody in over me who clearly does not care about this game and in fact actually wants to leave, like that's so disrespectful in my opinion. So the fact that there were even like conversations around it was like honestly pissing me off.
That's what I think. I agree with what Aaron said. You have this guy who came up to you and was like, look, I have this, serious family situation going on. Take me out so I can, be with my family. I wouldn't have even thought of another option. And while it was very entertaining to see Majesta implode in the meantime, I was almost like, I mean, yeah, there's these other options you're throwing out on the table, but it's still got to be Eric. right? Like, why would you vote somebody out? Then what, you're going to keep him in the game and face the chance that he just quits after because he didn't get voted out?
Well, that's what it is. Yes, watching it, I'm like, this is gross, and I would do it, and etc. I do think that there are people who are probably going to say like, well, he could have just quit whenever if they still went through and it was going to mess up their game, and by him going out and them wasting an opportunity to vote is going to mean they just go out next week after. Well, then Meisner, you can quit like after the tribal council. I really don't care. Like from certain other people's points of view, it's not how I would have handled it, but I understand where people are going to say like, you can quit whenever you want. It does not have to be sacrificing my vote also in order to let you quit.
I also definitely like, you almost see the newbie versus returnee kind of thought process there, where Faith was just like, it'll be Meisner if he has to be voted out, but if he doesn't, it's JS. Whereas McQuad, I feel like the entire lead up was, no, Meisner wants to be voted out, screw whatever he wants, like screw his family, I don't care what is good for him, we're voting out Faith. Like, and it was just very like, that entire lead up was almost like an icky feeling where it was just like, he said I wanted to be voted out to spend time with his dying grandmother. Obviously, knowing more about Meisner, that maybe there was a little just like the newbies immediately were just like, okay, his grandmother's totally alive. But like, so maybe that's what the thought process was. But still, if anyone was just like, not like, hey, can I win because my grandmother's dying? Like, okay, that's one thing. But can you vote me out so I can spend time with my dying grandmother? It's like, my mind wouldn't have even raced to like, how can this affect the game? How will this like, what can we, like, now that we know some people will be throwing their votes on Meisner, maybe we can try and like, no, mine is like, okay, this week is gone. Like, that sucks. It's unfortunate that we aren't going to have a real tribal, but Meisner, sorry, like, good luck with your grandma and hope everything's good. Like, that was immediately what I would be thinking. So yeah, definitely to see like McQuad or Creepy Crawlers or whatever shitty name they've come up with next, like, then decide like, yeah, screw what he wants, we're going to do this, and then eventually vote him out anyways. It was just like, well, great, now y'all just look like horrible human beings for half an hour on Survivor Maryland. Good job, you succeeded.
But they didn't vote out Faith.
They
voted
didn't.
out Meisner.
Yes, I was happy to see the end result with everybody actually being on board.
I would, if like anybody had actually voted a different way, like, I'm pissed off at what they were saying, but I would have been so much more pissed off.
Yes.
I'm
Agreed.
like, just let him go.
Agreed. I will say the discussion did lead to enough like fun moments to me, like saying Sam is the key to everything. I was like, yes, she is, as she should be. Absolute icon queen.
The turnaround of Sam, though.
I know. And then Sam saying egg roll is on my side too,
Yeah.
because of their one stairwell conversation. I was like, where
Sam's
egg roll
like, no,
didn't
me
even
and
walk
egg roll
away.
are good. I own egg roll's vote. Like, don't worry. And I was like,
Egg roll walked away feeling so bad about that too. He was like, I guess Sam and I can probably work together moving forward, but like, also him complaining about having to play like a social game in College Survivor was so funny to me. He was like, this just isn't the game I had to play last time. And I was like, buddy, you didn't make the merge last time. Maybe this is why.
yeah, you were targeted from like the second tribal. Were you trying to play a like physical game? Like,
Yeah.
what was your goal?
Exactly. Exactly. But I was like, you're complaining about having to play a social game and like playing a good social game. Because he is right now. Playing a great social game. While he's like fucking passed out at the bar. That was also
Oh, we need to talk about that.
Oh
Let's
my
talk about
God.
them going there for Eric's 21st birthday and being so lost out of their minds filming.
so gone.
First, I'm so
So
happy
funny.
they filmed. That's such a returning move to
Yes,
film right there.
Absolutely, yes.
And then also like total throwback to drunk tribal, like Faith trying to kiss
Oh, yeah.
Tony, like vomiting, all of that. It was like, that is immediately where my mind went to, and I was like, this is Faith's Drunk Tribal season 8. Like, this is amazing. I love this, and this is after she didn't get to do the physical challenge. So, or maybe it was before. I don't know when the hell this happened, but
It was after.
like, yeah, it's just so perfect. Where I'm just like, I need more drunk Faith in my life. Just every time we get drunk Faith, we get happiness, basically.
Eric just being out cold on that table is what sent me. Like Faith and Mike were
Great
just like
21st
actually
Eric.
kind of talking, like actually like, you know, saying like this is what we should do, like blah blah blah. Like actually, and Eric is just like Fully dead.
Definitely his
dead.
21st. Can
So
confirm.
funny.
That's how you know.
So good.
But see, and I think just to point this out, I think it's very interesting the difference between Sababa and Majesta returners. It's like the Sababa returners aren't seen as united because they aren't like that. They aren't going out to the bars together and always together.
Yeah.
Majesta returners, I mean, they are hanging out together like this. Like they're going to get drunk together. There is so much more of a clear and obvious bond there that Sababa just isn't showing.
Yeah.
I almost have to wonder too, though, is it like, I mean, the newbies on Majesta have made it very clear, like, this is newbies versus returners. So if they hadn't started doing that from the get-go, would it still be this way?
It's a chicken and the egg. I mean, who is the first group to sort of consolidate themselves? Because as JS said, Mike made it clear from the beginning he was close with Faith.
Mm-hmm.
But JS and Mike knew each other apparently too, and I didn't know that until this episode where they were like, "Yeah, we actually knew each other." And Mike's like, "Yeah, we know each other. Screw that guy. I want to vote him out." Like,
it was in episode 1.
Yeah, but it's like it barely like with Tony and like Katie, they had a whole meeting, childhood friends, but we're gonna tell people we only sort of knew each other in high school. They planned it out. Sam and Jack, first episode, they're like, okay, we know each other outside the game. We're gonna talk. With JS and Mike, JS was targeting Mike immediately. Mike was targeting JS this episode. Like it's
no.
So
if you go back to episode 1, not to do this, if you go, Mr. Historian, if you go back to episode 1, you'll see they have a segment where they talk about we went to a trip to China. Show
they
a
have
picture
the
of both of
picture
them.
and everything. Yep.
JS says famously, and Aaron hated this, that Mike is his favorite returnee.
Yes. I distinctly
And then
remember.
I can't imagine why Aaron hated that.
Aaron doesn't support Mike. Let's be clear.
So true.
Our perfect king who's never lost a challenge. She hates him. So what are we feeling about, let's talk about tribal, unless someone has something else to say about the returners sort of being drunk messes.
Just love it.
This tribal, I mean, it comes out of nowhere. We're just talking. Okay, how are you guys going to stop losing? And JS goes, well, I think some people on this tribe just aren't trying hard enough. I mean, me, I'm winning my challenges, but Miranda, Jack,
always a genius move to call people out directly, especially when they're in your own alliance.
Yeah,
always
especially your allies.
Just like truly brilliant. Obviously, I think that this was probably way overplaying by McQuad and someone being like, maybe we should start a fight so no one realizes we're working together. Yeah, see? Like, I'm not the only one that thinks that. Like, I did the same thing at my own, like, season 1 where I was like, let me fight with people and they're not going to realize we're working together. And everyone's just like, no, you're a dumbass. We know you're working together. Now you just look like an asshole. Like, that's basically what JS came across as this entire tribal, where it's like, maybe they don't realize they're working together as much, and that's what they were trying to do, but he just comes across as a total asshole. And with Miranda, who already hates everyone for no reason, like, maybe this was a fake fight, but especially with scenes from the next episode, I could totally see Miranda just being like, this was a fake fight, but he pissed me off so much. Screw him. Yeah, exactly. Okay, me and everyone else are on the same page right now. This is beautiful. But just like, I can totally see Miranda being like, you know what? I now hate JS also because I hate everybody. So
I support her in this one, though, because that is insane. If your own ally, if somebody you're supposed to be working with is like, oh, you thought you had a concussion? Boo-hoo. Like, what the fuck is that? Concussions are serious, man.
As someone with 4 concussions, if someone ever made fun of any of them, screw you.
Yeah.
Not the fact that somebody literally had to bring up, like, we have to go to school.
Yeah, Jack was like, we're here for school.
That's a serious thing. Like,
yeah, I wrote that down. Jack saying, like, yeah, we're here for school first, and we're also playing Survivor while we're here. I'm like, yes, that is the truth of college Survivor. Like, yeah, don't fuck up your life for this game. What is the prize? Like $50?
100. All right, chill out.
They don't even give him money. You get the tribal immunity idol at OSU.
Wait,
oh no, we reuse that thing. Hold on, we need that.
We got a new one every season.
Nope.
We only did when people broke them. But
no, we still tried to keep it for an extra season after they broke it.
Who would break an idol?
At least you tried to glue it back together. Most people are just like, yeah, I don't know where the other piece went.
If Greg Friedberg did originally put in our constitution, though, we owe the winner $1,000. And someone finally read it and was like, "Did you give this girl $1,000?" I'm like, "Were we supposed to? We're broke." I
If
went to
Muriel
USC
had
and
won,
begged for money.
I would support that. Muriel deserves $1,000, but that's
I
it.
don't think we've ever had $1,000 in our account combined. How the
We're
hell are
not
we
a
supposed
club.
to give the winner $1,000?
We're not a club. Everybody else is a club.
Oh, true.
Wow, illegal.
I'm reporting you guys right now.
I don't think we're
Yeah.
allowed to use like the block M or any of the things we do use. Like, and we just do. It's fine.
At U of M, boy, have I got some secrets for you.
I was gonna say, even as a club at OSU, they were explicitly like, we don't care if you use literally like copyright the CBS logo, but if you use a block O, a Buckeye, or Brutus in anything, you're done. And we're like,
These are the people that tried to copyright the word "the," so I'm not that surprised.
it's all checking out now.
And meanwhile,
That was
someone did
ridiculous.
ask, "How is this allowed on campus?" As I have people running at each other with big sumo mats,
Such
and the
a
answer
good
is,
question.
"Hey, it was. I don't know what to tell you. Hey, baby,
American
we are a club."
universities, guys.
Ask for
That's what
forgiveness, not
we
for
did a similar
permission.
challenge and the police showed up and we literally had to be like, "So have you heard of the CBS Survivor?"
Oh, we've had cops come and watch our challenges just to see what happens, and it's like, see, the law's on my side. When I say you're out of this challenge, you're out.
They're gonna call it.
So the fighting, did we feel like it was fake, or do we think it was not?
I think it started fake, and then for Miranda, it became real very quickly.
Yeah.
is how I will say.
It felt possibly fake, but not planned. Like that was just a decision JS made to be like, I'm gonna stir some shit up. Like I'm gonna say some shit about my allies to make people think we're not working together. But he hadn't discussed it with them beforehand.
But then
That's
it's
what
like,
it feels like to me. Like it was
Yeah.
an independent decision to be fake mad, and it's not gonna play well.
Big brain moves.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
think that
sure.
just speaks to how messy JS has been because I didn't really question it. I was like, yeah, this tracks. Like JS would do this.
I
Yeah.
was Gally. I was honestly like, this guy's just like being a bitch for nothing.
Which I appreciate, but also like would piss me off.
Also, thank
Oh,
you,
for
Anders, for making him say names. Because literally, when he was just like, "Yeah, I just think some people haven't really, like contribute," and you were like, "Who?" And he was like, "Well, Miranda sucks, and Jack is a horrible at everything physical." And I was like, "Yes, more. Keep talking. This is great.
That's
Dig
almost
the hole, even though Meisner's getting voted out. Like this is beautiful."
that's almost saying like, when Aaron's just saying maybe it was like an individual thought that he's gonna stir some shit up. And like him not anticipating he's gonna be asked for names and him in the moment going, gonna throw my allies out there. Hopefully they're cool with that. They were not. But
There's such a beauty in like episode 1, Dylan Fish going, when I ask who's the weak people, when he goes, there's some weak people, and he goes, I think Sabrina and Morgan. It's like that's very clearly unplanned, and it was like, huh, what the fuck? Why would you say that? And then this one where it's like JS, it felt more like JS was prepared on some level, or at least much more committed to his answer.
yeah. He's committed to the bit, I'll give him that.
But we have, I mean, to those who aren't even in his alliance, we're just like, fuck JS. Yeah, you know what? You're done. We love you, Miranda. Hey, Mike says, Miranda, you're a queen, all right?
Yeah, Mike says that for sure, verbatim.
And he's right.
So ultimately, Meisner's gone. They voted him out. He did vote for Katie. He found it in himself to vote for her. So that will count if she gets to final tribal.
Hell yeah.
Her perfect game is busted. It's over.
Yeah, but Meisner.
Is there a reason he voted for Eggroll? Because, like, if anyone on my tribe was nicknamed Eggroll, I would also write that down automatically just to say I voted for an Eggroll. But, like, was there a reason he voted for that? Or was that just like, I need to vote for someone? Cool, Eggroll.
Well, he can't vote Mike because he lent him his car.
It's probably because Eggroll couldn't roll in the first challenge. He
That's
couldn't
true.
do the slithery
He
snake
did not
thing.
live up to his
That's a
name.
good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you why.
I think it would have been so funny if he did just throw that straight vote on JS Like the amount of offended that man would have been.
Oh yeah,
That would have been good.
that would have been great.
So Meisner's gone. We've had 2 people elect themselves to leave McQuad, which honestly, if I had to sit through these tribal councils,
Did you say to leave McQuad?
sorry, Majesta. You're right. That's so fucked up. Maybe it's not a good alliance thing.
I think they should elect to leave McQuad.
I would too.
But I can't blame them. If I was on Majesta, maybe I'd feel the same way. Like, I'm ready to go.
I
See
get
ya.
it. After Sherry leaves, what's the point?
Yeah.
What do we think is going to happen now? Who do we think is in danger here?
I think. Oh, you know what might happen is if like Miranda is so mad about what JS just did at Tribal, she goes to Faith and she's like, "Hey, by the way, JS is really pushing like he wants the returnees gone, like blah blah blah, throw JS under the bus." And either JS vote on Majesta or Faith uses the advantage, or like Faith and Miranda team up to use it together and like try to swap screw JS.
I mean, that's what I like got the vibe that scenes from the next episode was trying to show. Obviously, scenes from the next episode are inherently trying to fool you at any given moment, or at least not give away the entire story of the episode. So obviously, I'm 100% hoping Miranda's hate is now transferred from Faith to JS, because she has a lot of hate in her that she must release at someone at all times, apparently. So I'm really hoping that that's the case. The fact that you're saying it'll be cleared up next episode with the tribe swap advantage or game changer, like maybe that will be used, or at least someone will heavily seriously consider using it. I definitely think returnees are still in just the worst position in existence for the second consecutive week, and they've just been spared twice now. Meisner was spared the first time, then he chose to quit, and Mike and Faith have both kind of been saved in a way. So it's interesting. Maybe Aaron wishes that Mike was not saved, but everyone else, I think, is very happy that like the returnees are still safe for now. And I obviously hope they stay safe somehow. Maybe Sababa loses the next challenge and they go to tribal, because no one has any idea what the hell's going on over there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough. I think there could never be a next Majesta Tribal Council for all we know. And so that makes it very difficult. I think Sam is safe. That feels about right.
Yeah.
I don't think
As she
anyone's
should
targeting
be.
Sam.
For her.
Strategic queen.
She has made the relationships.
She's got a girl
Otherwise,
in her back pocket.
I feel like most people are kind of on the table on this tribe, which I would not say about Sababa.
Michaela's running that tribe like the military.
Her name hasn't been said once.
No. By
Yeah.
anybody, ever.
Even they don't realize she's on the tribe.
Sam, what are your predictions?
Based off of what's been said about the game changer and tribe swap, I feel like that's either going to be like we said, either heavily touched upon next episode, maybe happen next episode. Would break my heart a little because I would love to see this Majesta. I need to see them explode. I need to see what happens when they can actually have a vote.
Used to 2 tribals, no real votes on either, and then they swap before they can go to a real one.
That would be crazy.
That would suck on so many levels.
I think, yeah. And I think also based on what we've seen, like there's got to be some kind of fallout for Jay, especially with all these other alliances popping up, like Faith talking to the girls. If they get pissed off enough at Jay, they can just run straight to Faith and Mike and say, you know what, we're done with McQuad. And on
And
Sababa,
then they go, "What's McQuad?"
Mike's like, my
Wait a
quad?
Shut up. Yeah, they're pretty good at the challenge, huh? Thank you. Thank
No,
you.
Shane,
No.
it's not.
No,
You're
Shane.
wrong,
Uh-uh.
Shane.
I was gonna say, like, Sababa, honestly just interested to see what's happening because I don't think they know what's gonna happen if they go back right now.
There was a really good comment here about these 3 episodes, and I would agree. I would actually say that the season does have a lot of like 3 episode arcs in that way. These first 3 episodes are very much what I would just call setup. Like setting up the foundations of what alliances are here, what are the relationships that we're building off. And
I
yeah, I
wouldn't
mean,
call the Sabrina vote a free vote, but I definitely think that was a setup, like
Yeah.
episode. Other than that,
no, that vote was not free. It was very complicated.
yeah, a little pricey.
But it was unanimous in the end, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it's still the most complicated, easy vote of the season. Actually, fighting for the Meisner vote for most complicated, easy vote, where unanimous, but
Somehow.
let's come up with 7 plans and fake a fight at tribal council for this guy who asked to be voted out. Genius.
They're playing 4D chess.
4D chess.
That's
When
what I
they
was about to
needed, when
say.
all they needed to do was play checkers, they played 4D chess.
We
Smart.
asked you to play checkers, actually. This was unnecessary.
Who do we think is going to win this season?
Like actually, or just like, are we automatically saying Katie on for the bid?
Well, you can say Katie on.
Okay. Besides Katie, I'm gonna make that qualifier. I actually feel like I've seen a lot of good stuff from Jess. I think Jess has been set up pretty well. It seems like people want to work with Jess. I think she's getting good content in the episodes, so I'm gonna go with Jess. And she's a Drag Race fan, so good for her.
She loves the queens. Queens love queens.
So true.
We know Aaron's.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
sticking with
Andrew.
Andrew.
No, hers is
Dylan?
Mike. Actually.
No, it's Mike. What are you saying?
No. Yeah, mine's Andrew. Will continue to be Andrew. I think he had a really good episode this week. I really do. I think that, like, yeah, sure, he like I said, I do think he had like a couple missteps, but he is a newbie. I'm gonna give him a little bit of grace for it. And it's like he is doing what he needs to do and getting under Kadion's wing. And I think that's exactly where you want to be if you want to win. Because eventually people are gonna be like, actually, we're not gonna let Kadion win. And he's going to be right there to be like, you're right, let's vote her out, and then I'm going to emerge as a beautiful phoenix. And that's what Andrew's going to do.
That's what he's going to say, too.
Damn,
It
he
is.
went from lanky, who could be blown over by the wind, to a phoenix real quick.
He will. He will. He's not there yet. He's just a little baby egg right now. But he'll
Look,
get there.
in the stand up against the wind challenge, he's going to lose it. But
He's gonna win the whole thing.
But then he'll be reborn.
He's just gonna be holding on to the compass or sundial at the end and falls over because it's a windy day.
but he didn't die. He done crystallized into a glamazon bitch ready for the runaway. Akshay, besides Katie, who do you think is winning?
Besides Katie, since we're adding that qualifier for everyone, I think Jack is the Katie of Majesta, which like everyone has her as their number one. Like came in with the relationship with Sam. Miranda, that's the one person Miranda doesn't hate apparently. Where she's part of McQuad. As bad of a name it is, she's pretty insulated from like JS is not interested in voting her out. Tony's not interested. Returners aren't interested in voting her out. Faith wants to work with her. So I think Jack is just in a really good position. Obviously, in these situations,
Or Andrew.
yeah, returnees are always in a better position, in a better place, where they're almost always going to make the end. But if this anti-returnee does turn into an Edge of Extinction vibe, where it's like all the returnees just get obliterated really quickly post-merge or something, I could totally see Jack coming in and just taking control of these newbies and being this very likable, small Asian girls do really well in Survivor Maryland is all I'm going to say.
And Katie's back, so you can't exactly... Yeah, Katie did great, and she's here again. Sam?
I honestly, despite what I said about Katie earlier, having too many number ones, I want her to win. I think if she can evade that long enough, she does win. I think if I had to pick someone other than Katie, I agree with Akshay. Jack is set up in a really good position with everybody on Majesta, and I think she could easily integrate herself with both, the newbies and the returnees on Sababa because, she's doing well on her own tribe. Why can't she do well with them, too? I would have a hard time saying the same for any other newbies on Majesta at this time.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Were there any other favorite moments from this episode we didn't cover? Any moments that stuck out to you that gave you a little bit of a chuckle or a little bit of a quickly, look at your notes.
Another another part of this another part of the Sam egg roll conversation that I loved was egg roll being like, do you want to work with me pretty much? And Sam said, I have nothing against you and also nothing for you, so it could go either way. It was a perfect line to me. That was so funny.
And then she comes back and is like, yeah, I got egg roll in my pocket,
Yeah.
obviously. We have such a good relationship.
He said it could go either way.
In the
Yes.
Katie and Dylan wedding, are we sitting on the bride side or the groom side?
Ride.
Right.
Oh my god!
And
I
I
feel like I'm
love
gonna show up
Dylan.
late, and so I'll end up on the groom side. The bride side will be full. I'm typically late.
You asked between the Asian girl who everyone wants as their number one or the white guy who gets voted out whenever anyone feels like voting someone out, even though he has 7 idols. Whose side are we gonna be on? Wow, that's such a tough choice.
Wow.
Dylan, I love you. You seem
Dylan
like a
hate
great
coming out of
person.
nowhere.
If you're going against Katie you're always losing.
I love Dylan, first of all. And
I
I would
like Dylan.
Dylan chose to share his idol with Katie out of fear of not doing that.
Yeah.
And then
And it was the right choice.
And
because
as
we
he
should all
should.
share our idols with Katie on.
That
Morgan
is the
said it
power of
herself.
Katie on.
Yeah,
I don't think you
Morgan-
understand.
I wrote this quote down. Morgan said, Katie makes it easy to trust her. And she does. And that's great.
Here's the thing. I think Dylan would sit on Katie's side, so like it's fine.
Exactly.
Katie's
yeah, I
walking
love.
down the aisle and Dylan's just sitting on her side and is like, oh wait.
right.
To clarify, there's no one on Dylan's side. Everybody's on Katie's, except for Skylar, who showed up late to the wedding and had to find a seat.
And I mean, it's impressive that Katie basically loops Dylan in and basically puts him in a position to say final 2. Like, we're here, marriage proposal, final 2, and he goes,
Mhm.
I'm scared. He says, I'm scared to go to the end with you, but yes, final 2.
She said it in the
Iconic.
best way though. Like she
Yeah.
didn't say final 2. She said marriage proposal. Like you're not going to be like, no, fuck that. I'm not getting married to you. Like who's
Dylan
gonna say
did,
that?
though. He agreed to
he
the
did.
final
He
2, but he
100%
said, I'm
did
not going to
initially,
marry
actually.
you, which is crazy.
Said I'm not ready for that one.
Mhm.
And then 5 seconds later he was all of a sudden. So that lasted a
It
long
was the
time.
final 2 deal.
I love her. Dylan has commitment issues, guys, and then that's what convinced him. He was like, "Nope, I'm good. We're good."
It's, in season 4, she took Brian's Pokemon. In this, she's taking Dylan's hand in marriage.
I was very worried on where you were going with that one.
You're disgusting. Get your mind out of the gutter. They proposed.
And honestly, 2 equally valuable things.
Pokemon and marriage. We
Yeah.
agree.
And
Any-
yeah, absolutely. No
You
shame
any
to
other
died
them.
on that
moments?
hill.
That was all for me. That's all I had in my notes.
I do have to say, I brought this up a couple times. The fact Sam, for the first 2 episodes, everyone's like, Sam, easy vote out, get her. And now, McQuad wants her on their
She is the
side. Eggwell's like, I
baby.
can make an alliance with her. She is the hot commodity right now. And as a fellow Sam, I respect that. And I respect everybody else's game for changing their minds and deciding not to take her out first.
How does it
Yeah.
feel to have other people with your name in Survivor Michigan? I've never had that experience. What is that like?
There have been so many Sams on Survivor OSU, actually, that at one point we were all exclusively going by last names
Classic.
between production and cast.
Yeah, we did that with Eric's this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And already
Yeah,
one has
yeah.
fallen.
Can
Or
I
Eggroll.
ask, because I realized this, I know there's a lot of multiples in names on this season, and JS was very much like, I go by JS, but I'm like, there's no other J. Why?
That's not his last name,
that's-
it's his middle name.
But what's the clarifying S for here is my question.
Sometimes people just want to be known as JS. I can't explain why or how or even if it's necessary. It just is.
Hey, John Cochran didn't have another John, but he was like, call me Cochran. Jay was like, call me JS.
I took it to be that JS goes by JS in life, not just in Survivor Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Sure does. All right, let's get to plugging in and logging off. Aaron, is there anything that you want to plug?
something very exciting is ending tomorrow. You can catch the finale of Survivor Michigan Season 6, The Michigan Difference, tomorrow on Survivor Michigan Gen 2 YouTube channel. Don't ask me what time. I don't know. George might not either. Who's to say? But it'll come out sometime tomorrow night, hopefully. And yeah, you can catch the finale. I will probably be drunk, but we can, enjoy it. Catch you in the live chat, hopefully. But yeah, so go to the Gen 2 channel. And once you're done with that, go to the Gen 1 channel and binge seasons 1 through 5 because you'll need something to do before the next episode of Maryland.
Maybe not season 5, but seasons 1 through 4 for sure.
So true, Akshay. That
Yeah.
too, actually.
Akshay, do you have anything to add that isn't also a pitch for Michigan 6?
I completely forgot the name of season 6, that it was called The Michigan Difference, just because I call them by their numbers. But yeah, season 6, The Michigan Difference, great. I think it's one of our best finales in general. We're gonna get some history by the end of this season, so that's wonderful. And definitely get us more subscribers, because Survivor Michigan Gen 2 is not close to 2,000. So we should totally get some more Survivor Michigan Gen 2 subscribers and get that number up so that we can compete with Maryland again.
Yeah, would you say the Michigan Difference is what, like 1,000 subscribers?
About 1,300 subscribers, I would say. Yeah, 12.
Oh, okay, so pretty close.
Yeah.
So the only Michigan difference is that it's online. Sam?
Sorry we're up to our COVID season, Anders.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. That sucks.
Yeah, when you were like season 12 in 20 years, I was like, oh, is that how it works in Maryland? Because our seasons come out pretty quick last time I checked.
Yeah, we're just
when I
too
saw
busy
this
with.
was season 8, I went, aren't you guys on like 20 something?
Sure are. Sure are. But you know what? Now you can enjoy something pre-pandemic.
Conveniently, all on one YouTube page is seasons 1 through 4 of Survivor Time and Change. Season 5 is being edited, the last time I heard.
Real.
And then possibly season 7. I don't know about 6. I'm not on I don't edit. I just show up for the live shows. So if I know
Are we
anything
the only
else, I'll
ones
let you
that
know.
are going to consistently release the seasons in order? Because
Oh
I feel
my
like Maryland
God.
is skipping
Why
3
would we
seasons.
ever do that? Having a consistent editor, that's just not our style.
That's the Michigan difference right there.
Oh my God, we're not going to get into your editing style, Scally. Anything that you want to hype up?
Anything I'm doing is on Twitter at Brian_Scally, where you'll see myself and Matt Ligori do a challenge podcast called the Free Agents Podcast. People should check out. And we will be actually talking about the part 1 of the reunion live over on my Twitch channel Monday at 1:00 the day after. It's Twitch at twitch.tv/bscally.
You gotta be Scally.
Love it.
As for me, if you want to follow Survivor Maryland, you can follow us on Twitter at UMD Survivor. That's UMD Survivor, which is the name of our school. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's survivor.maryland, because we're not consistent except in our upload schedule. That is the Michigan difference, huh?
Damn right.
And on Facebook, we're just
know it.
Survivor Maryland, because Facebook is old. Now, if you're really excited for episode 4 and you can't wait for it to come out next week, it's not coming out next Monday. It's coming out the week after, the 11th. Whoa! So I know I just said we're consistent, and what I mean by that is we'll
We have a
always release
consistent upload schedule. You excited? Well, screw you. We're getting an inconsistent. Genius.
for
Anders.
one
Well
week.
done.
All right. Sorry, I won't be here, and if I can't celebrate this by talking for an hour and a half about it, I'm not going to post it, and I'm not sorry about that. So, catch episode 4, March 11th. It's worth the wait. Austin Trupp said to me after giving some notes on it, it's the best episode of Survivor Maryland I've ever made, which is like, cool. So everything else I made is garbage. Kind of fucked up to say. But yes, so Survivor Maryland, winner take all, episode 4 is March 11th. If you don't watch this, I'll post it other places so you will see it. And if you don't see it, I'll answer it in the Discord also. Also, I guess Survivor 46 is coming out this Wednesday. Whatever. All right. Well, I'm kidding. Watch it. I don't know.
Speaking of consistent broadcast schedules,
Yeah. Maybe too consistent. Just kidding. Parody. Anyways, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, guests, for coming on here and talking about our made-up little show for an hour and a half. Follow everyone here or don't. I'm not your parent. But we'll see you all later. Good night. Bye.